Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you see this. This is Dee with Older INFP Insights. And I thought I would do a video this morning instead of cleaning. I was actually, it's Saturday. So Saturday I have my white socks. You're getting the bland version. Saturday's my white socks day. That's to remind me that I need to do the washing. But where that's crazy, but that's just how I have to do things. And of course, we've got the vacuum cleaner here. I was going to move that before I did the video, or preferably, I was going to vacuum before I did the video because I'm supposed to be doing that, but I'm not. That vacuum cleaner's been sitting here all week, and it's Saturday. Last room I've got to do, finish it. I am going to do that today sometime. And by the way, if you haven't seen my video on house cleaning, it's actually gotten 445 views. It's one of the most popular ones, if not the most popular one I've done. So I thought, why not pay an homage to my house cleaning, or lack thereof. I'm leaving the vacuum cleaner. It will make its way to the closet later today, and I will vacuum. But anyway, the topic of today, and I do want to say that I appreciate everybody, and it seems like the last two videos got a lot of views quickly, about words I would have for the different generations. Not doing boomers because we just, we're hopeless at this point. There's no advice we can give you. You have to give everybody else advice. But anyway, it is going to be about, today I'm going to talk hopefully quickly about don't feed the fears, and it has to do with we know that INFPs, being the empaths that we are, we absorb and we feel other people's feelings, and that comes from the FI, introverted feeling. We are, and I'm going to say this is according to me, but I think we are the deepest feelers. We feel the most. We feel the deepest, we feel the most, we catch feelings for everything. I like to say I can catch feelings for inanimate objects, which I actually do. This coffee table down here, when I moved 5 years ago, the coffee table got damaged, and I feel so bad because I've had it like 20 years, and nothing's happened to it, and it's moved a dozen times. Oh, but anyway, yes, we catch feelings really, really bad, really easily. It's not a bad thing. Usually we talk about it as in catching love feelings, catching empathy of people when they're hurt. Emotionally, we can feel that. We can feel other people's pain and suffering. That's what you see mostly on YouTube. That's what we think about mostly. That's what I've always thought about mostly. But I'm going to talk today about fear and how it can creep up on you. And it's something that you don't want to live in, is fear. And it comes when you least expect it. It comes when you're not expecting it. It comes to you. It's not something that you put out there into the open. I think we know pretty much when we're feeling other people's suffering. We know that's going on at the time. But fear is a different thing. The only way, and I don't know how to put this in words, which is also another INFP thing. We're great. I think we're great communicators, but our minds don't go linearly. We go in all different directions, so I don't know how to put it linearly. Maybe you'll understand it. I'm going to give you some ideas to look up and research on your own, so you can come to your own conclusions. But basically, fear will get into your life. It can be debilitating. I just have to give you my own example. Again, for those of you who are new, welcome. This is what INFPs do. And those who aren't INFPs but just want to find out about us, this is what we do. We lead through example. We communicate and empathize with people by giving our own life example. Again, that comes from the introverted feeling. It's about us and our feelings. So what happened to me was the last couple of years during COVID, we've had lockdowns. I mean, everybody has. We've been in lockdown. We've been in isolation. We've been in what I have more so than a lot of people because I have had COVID. I'm getting over. I wound up with chronic fatigue, which is had a setback about that. So I'm working with that. Since then, so there are a lot of different things I've had to stay isolated from the general public. I've started getting out now. So for 2 years I didn't think anything bothered me too much, and I had a friend who I thought was a friend, and I've done some videos on that, who was an INFJ who was terrified of COVID. I wasn't terrified of COVID because I've had it and I survived it and I had a mild case. I just don't want to get it again, and I don't want to get it worse. It's totally inconvenient. That's an understatement. That's an understatement because it has left me with chronic fatigue, but I'm here to live and tell about it. But she has never had it. She lives in a place where anything goes. They haven't had mask mandates. They haven't cared too much about being safe about it. So she would we would communicate every day through emails, which was nice to have somebody to talk to during that time. And she would tell me everything that's going on down where she lives and how she felt about it. And she was, afraid. And I'm not. I had everything delivered. I worked everything out. I had everything delivered here to the house. When I did have COVID, I couldn't go out for 2 weeks anyway, so I had to have things delivered. And I learned that I could live that way, and that was convenient for me. So I haven't really been shopping. I have been to the grocery store down the street when I have to have a couple of things, because I'm not going to pay a service $15, $20 just to pick up bananas, for example. So I have done that, but I haven't really been shopping and staying out of the big box stores. So anyway, I did not realize how much of her fear I was absorbing until, number one, I got totally drained with communicating with her, and I cannot communicate with her anymore. We're not speaking right now. I don't know if we'll ever speak again, but that's something that, kind of had a falling out about. I was just drained. I didn't realize it till I got burned out. And it has a lot to do with fear, and how I knew it was fear and not just empathizing with her situation. I don't think I could live like she's living in the place where she's living, where nobody really seems to care about being careful with COVID, and they had one of the highest COVID rates in the whole country for a long time. I won't say where it is, but if you can, maybe you can figure it out, but it doesn't matter. But the way I figured it out was when I started going out here recently, in 2022, I decided I'm going to go out. If I get COVID again, I get COVID again. We'll just have to see. I can't stay inside anymore. I've been here for 2 years. So I noticed initially that I couldn't drive. I got very nervous, had a lot of anxiety if I tried to drive in traffic particularly. Didn't realize how much traffic had kind of like doubled where I lived, or tripled in the 2 years, because I haven't really been anywhere. And I live in a place where I can walk to some stores if I need to go. Like when I need to go to the grocery store, it's just a half a block down, so I was walking down there. So I'm having to learn to drive all over again. I didn't really know how to drive. It scared me to be able to drive and wonder what happens if the car breaks down, what happens. I mean, this coming from someone before COVID. I was traveling all over the country. I was doing road trips. I was riding in Amtrak trains. I did 20,000 miles on Amtrak in a year and a half before COVID. I love to travel. It never bothered me because I had resources. I knew how to get around. I knew how to do things for myself. But I found out I was afraid to even drive. Don't mind riding with people. So that's one thing. One way I figured out that I had absorbed fear. Because there's nothing around me to be that afraid of. Where I live is total opposite of where my friend lived. Is that most everybody did take it seriously, COVID, and we had mandates and we had all that. And I did stay more or less isolated, so nothing for me to totally be afraid of. The other big kicker was, the big kicker was a couple of weeks ago. I went out. I like now to practice my driving, so I go out in the neighborhood, and then I'm getting my sea legs back, as they say. I'm getting comfortable with driving now again, and decided to go into Walmart. I'll just go and tell you the big box story. It was Walmart. Of all places I decided that I would go, is probably the craziest place as far as finding a place to park, as far as people in there, as far as trying to check out. You know, they have like 20 lanes. You know, the joke, they have like 14 lanes and only 2 are open. Now everything's self-checkout, except for 1 lane, this particular one. So anyway, I went to Walmart, had to park at the back of the parking lot, had to walk. Here I am with chronic fatigue, and I have to walk. That wasn't a good idea, but I got in there, and my gosh, if that was the biggest place I've ever seen in my life. I forgot how big Walmart was. I've been having Walmart deliver things to me when I needed it, but they would not deliver one thing I was looking for. You had to go pick it up. So I just said, well, I'll just walk in there. It's no big deal. Oh, it was. I had a full-blown panic attack. And I've had panic attacks before, like 30, 40 years ago. This was like a full-blown panic attack. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm like, oh my gosh, what in the world am I doing? I was terrified. I didn't make it through. I didn't make it home, but I had to come home and lay down and go to sleep. But I realized then I have absorbed, totally absorbed the fear from my friend, just communicating every day for a couple of years and relaying what's going on, what she was just relaying what's going on down there. Sometimes that wasn't a daily thing, but she was like how she felt, and she felt uncomfortable. She never said like she was terrified or she was afraid necessarily. She was like, I feel uncomfortable with people coming in the house. They have to wear the N95 mask. I feel uncomfortable. You know, she would talk like that. I didn't realize I was absorbing all that too. So yeah, not going to be doing any big box store in-person visits for a long time, and I'm having to work my way back into society, which is odd for me. Never had to do that, but I'm having to take it slow. So I know that I have absorbed fear. I don't want that to happen to anybody else. So how do we know that we're absorbing fear? I would say if you start noticing that you feel a little antsy or feel a little anxious about doing something that you normally were comfortable doing in the past, maybe you are absorbing fear. If you're around people who are afraid, you are going to be absorbing the fear. So what do we do about it? Several things. There are a lot of things to be afraid of on our own. It's not to say we're not going to be concerned or afraid with what's going on in the world. We have enough on our plates. Each person does. We don't need to be absorbing other people's too. One is everybody says set boundaries. If you're around people who are doing that, who are afraid, just tell them that you can't hear it right now. That you'd like to help, but you can't help. Number 2, I wouldn't watch the news. I rarely watch the news. If you're going to watch TV, limit your time on the internet, limit your time on your cell phone. They catch on fire now. I found out that yesterday was one around here that blew up or whatever. But limit your time. Do real-time things. Get some type of hobby. I will say right now, here we are back. You probably won't show because I really don't care today. I'm not going to edit. I'm doing tennis. It's tennis season. So I'm sitting watching people bounce balls across the net. That's not that stressful. Another thing that I found on YouTube is you can search for what interests you, but there are tons and tons of videos that have different frequencies that do calming. There's one channel that will that calms different parts of your body. If you get headaches, they've got one for headaches. They've got one for gut health. They've got it for back pain. I mean, they've got it for everything. Anxiety. I do one every day, every morning, that clears out the negative energy in the house. I play that for about an hour. You only have to play these like for 15-30 minutes. It's part of meditation. I would definitely start a meditation routine. Find 15 minutes out of your life every day to do this, to relax, not to have it all built up. But there are frequencies. There are music videos that have different frequencies. One I like to do is to balance all of my cortisol, my high blood pressure, whatever, that gets balanced into one. I play that. Another one I play increases my serotonin and dopamine, gives me energy. And like I said, you can pick whatever, just find whatever interests you for that day. And listen to them. They do help. I've been doing that for several weeks. I'm zenned out. I have very little energy. Maybe that's where, I'm thinking the other day, I was thinking maybe that's where my fatigue is coming from, because I'm listening to all this music about half the day, because I do still have to stay inside. Now we have pollen season, so I got to stay inside. But I play so many that maybe I'm playing too many. I'm just totally relaxed, which is a good thing to be. So you have to figure out yourself what works for you. So that's just what I wanted to say, is just be careful of absorbing other people's emotions, but also, don't feed the fear. You get back what you put out there. What you feed is what you're going to get. So kind of notice these things, and just do not absorb that, because it can wind up being debilitating. And I was very shocked, very, very shocked to find out when I started getting out that things I took for granted, I am having a hard time doing right now. I'm working through it. It's going to be fine. But I fed the fears for 2 years. We're poets too. I fed the fears for 2 years with this one person, and it ended up, ending the whole friendship because of it, which was unfortunate. But I didn't realize that was going on. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Hope everybody's doing great. It's a nice sunny day where I am. It's going to be in the mid-80s this weekend, and then it's going to be back down, here where I am. It can be 21 day and 80 the next. We have every season in the same week. I'm kind of tired of that, but hope everybody's doing well. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. I'd like to hear your comments. If you have any ideas of what for me to talk about next, I would be glad to hear it. And until next time, stay safe.